Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more of the Virche fan disc. Continuing Mathis's encore route thing. I forgot. I thought we were moving on to the emotion or whatever, and I was like, right, I didn't do the bad endings yet. Okay. Anyway, so I loaded up our save file too. Well, this is another ending. But, I mean, let's be real. The other one, I mean, wasn't great for us in Mathis, but was, like, really happy for Jean, I guess. Somebody got their happy ending. Although he was a little forlorn, even though he pretended he didn't miss us. But he did. He did a little bit. So, but still, anyway. So, save file 2. So, we're gonna... Oh, I was like, okay. All right. Just didn't click it first. Anyway, stop him. Story of the Deliverer. Oh, this is like a whole other motherfucker. This is gonna take like a whole fucking hour or 6. Wait, if you have to kill someone, then kill only me. No, this is also practice for killing you. Don't worry. You'll be the last person I kill. I'll kill you more beautifully than anyone else, so wait for me. I'd rather not. Mathis didn't stop, even after I called out to him, and continued leaving the room. I tried going after him, but it seemed the door was locked from the outside and didn't move at all. What do I do? I couldn't let there be any more victims. I waited anxiously for several hours for Mathis to come back. I couldn't see outside, but my body told me that at the very least, it was sometime late at night. Maybe they captured him. My body froze when the unmovable door suddenly opened. But it wasn't Mathis who came in. He isn't back yet. How late is he going to stay out? Camille appeared with a look of annoyance. You're the one who allowed him outside, right? Yeah, I'm sure he'd throw a fit about being locked up in here if I completely stopped him from doing anything at all. I guess I can't ignore the side effects of putting the personality of a murderer in him. Good job. Oh, God, this psychopath. I can't hate him, but I wanted to throw a retort back at him, saying he shouldn't have downloaded such a personality into him in the first place. But then I stopped myself, hearing some footsteps approaching. Oh, looks like he's finally back. I imagine he might have killed 2 of them today. Please come back without being drenched in blood. Please, I pray Adolphe and his team stopped him from committing any crimes. My desperate prayers were crushed by the sounds of dripping blood. I'm back, Blondie. In an instant, the doorway was stained red. He innocently greeted me, announcing his return. And in both of his hands were the remains of what must have been people. Oh, God. Ugh. Even Camille's eyes widened in shock at the collected mounds of death. Beautiful, aren't they? You're gonna become like this, too. No, you'll take on the most amazing form, more beautiful than any other woman. Mathis's face twisted gruesomely, covered in blood. You want me to pet you, but then you bite. You're very nasty. Just very mean. Just very mean when we're playing games. Don't give me that cute face. Don't look at me with that cute little face. You're very mean when we're playing games. That's why I put my hand here if you want to snugs. But I don't want to pet you. That sounds so mean, I don't. Of course I want to pet you, but you bite me. I wish you wouldn't bite me, and then I would love to pet you more. But you'd be mean. Why are you yakking back and what you peeping for? What's the matter? I tried to speak, but couldn't form any words. In my place, the one who spoke was... You idiot! You came back to the mansion like that? If you're spotted by the Corps or the Royal Guard, I'll get caught too! Don't worry. I made my way here through empty streets. And even if I am found, it's a fact that you're working with me, so it's only obvious you should get caught, right? What are you talking about? Your schemes have nothing to do with me. I'll just go kill women whenever I feel like. After carefully putting the body parts of the corpses he brought back into preservation containers, Mathis put his hand on the door again. Where are you going? It's obvious, isn't it? Out to kill more women. I'll be back late, so be a good girl and wait for me, okay? He says it so gleefully. Huh? You've killed plenty already, and you're still going out again? Of course. This wasn't enough at all. At this rate, before you even succeed with your experiments, they might even kill all the prostitutes in the country. I didn't know if Mathis intended that as a joke or if he was serious. Wait! Not even able to understand what he meant, I watched him depart again, still drenched in blood. There was no time to just stand there. Camille, is this part of your scheme too? Of course not. There'd be no point in any of this if the lab's discovered before I can pin him as the deliverer. Then you have to stop Mathis, or else. I would have stopped him long ago if I could. Damn it, he's too true to his role as the deliverer. With the way he is now, I can't even try capturing him to switch out his memory data. For the first time, Camille cursed the success of his own experiments. Well, yep. Mathis was completely absorbed as the deliverer, someone who didn't even exist. He wouldn't care at all how much loss it would cause anyone if he could gain the pleasure of killing women. In other words, I have to do something or there'll be more victims. He was kinder than anyone I knew, and his hands, which were meant for writing words, would be stained red, taking away the lives of so many innocent people. They kind of already are, though. It's the one thing I can't let happen. Ignoring my pain, I walked toward Camille. Camille, why don't we make a deal? What? I then spoke in a tone so calm it surprised the exasperated man in front of me, and even myself. You want to keep the deliverer under your control and stop him from going on a rampage, right? Right. Then let me take on that responsibility. If you let me out of here temporarily, I'll help you neutralize Mathis. Huh? There's no way I'd trust you. If I free you, you'll just tell the Corps and have me arrested. I won't tell anyone about you. In exchange, if I'm able to get Mathis back here without any trouble, I want you to temporarily return him back to the original Mathis Claude. Do you understand what you're saying? If you were to do that, you'd only drag him down into further despair. That may be true, but even if that happens, I still have to stop him. Mathis has to face the sins he's committed. Either way, you only have one choice. If it's discovered that the deliverer is using the mansion as his base, you'll certainly be caught, and you can't escape now because it means leaving Rosalie behind. You need some time to prepare your escape, I'm sure. Or would you rather prioritize just reviving Rosalie and throw away the Rosalie sleeping right there? Ugh. You know how to hit where it hurts. Camille glanced at Rosalie sleeping in the capsule, then let out a small sigh. I'm sure once he runs out of targets, he'll turn his sights on Rosalie next. That's the last thing I want. I don't want to have to go through that ever again. After Camille spoke, he took two things out of a nearby cabinet. This is the dagger I took from you before, and here's a cane my father used. It's a bit old, but it'll be enough to keep you up with that leg full of holes. Accepting his agreement, I picked up the dagger and cane he placed in front of me. I'm not saying thanks. I'd be uncomfortable if you did. Well, just hold up on dying for now, Miss Murderer's Bride. You know, you could be calling Rosalie that too, just FYI, buttfuck. I love Jamil, don't get me wrong, but like, seriously? Don't be casting stones at me when your bitch is lying in a glass tank and she's also a murderer's bride. Ignoring his remark, this one also unlocks a CG. Be more tragic than the last one. I stepped into the outside world once again in order to stop Mathis. Or panting. I don't feel like panting. My energy's not here for this, to be fair. I don't know. I struggled with the cane and finally made it to Cohen. I didn't see any Corps members, possibly because they were patrolling other routes. Considering my agreement with Camille, I couldn't ask for Adolphe's help. I had to retrieve Mathis alone. As I gripped my digger? I think it's supposed to be dagger. Nice job, Tim Ronald. Fun times. I'm just thinking like an actual, like one of those actual, like, cat diggers. You know, she's gripping one of those. Why do you have a toy with you? Or that's a big-ass weapon to bring along. Like, I built up all the strength I had and entered an empty alleyway. A seemingly warm breeze swept in from somewhere, making me feel so uncomfortable it was scary. It doesn't seem like anyone's here. The path to the right led to Cheetahs. The path to the left led to the slums. Which way should I go? Thank God. I'm like, oh, okay, I know, because we have another save, so. Thank fucking God. I was like, if it takes too much longer to get to the save, that means this end's gonna take forever. Listen, I don't know what it is. I think it's because Mathis isn't my favorite. So starting with might have just been the, I don't know. Or I'm just not in the mode for, like, super depressing game. I have been waiting so long for this to come out, which I realize is, like, ridiculous. I'm like, yay, we're gonna get this! And now I'm like, I don't know. I'm too, like, the world is depressing right now. So, like, then doing this is, like, it's just not making it any better. I don't know, But again, I don't hate them redoing the other endings and adding more context to them and giving us kind of new versions of them. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. But I'm still on the, like, I'm not sure exactly how I feel, and I think starting with Mathis was a bad idea for me. Partly good because, like, get him out of the way. That sounds awful. Sorry, Mathis lovers, I really am. But again, he's just not for me, you know what I mean? He's a good character. But, like, he doesn't deserve any of this. None of our love interests deserve any of the weird shit, but you know what I mean? Like, I think if I started with one of the ones that any other one, basically, because I like them more, I probably wouldn't have felt as, like, about it at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, and then I would already be in the mode of doing it, and then you do Mathis, and then even if you're like, Mathis was fine, he's not my favorite love interest, but also because the Mathis that you like has not been here this whole fucking part. You know what I mean? And, like, while the concept of the story and, like, his crazy personalities and, like, Jean dumping all the stuff into it, the concept of the story and what they're doing is good. It's not the Mathis that you like in the first game where he's timid and adorable, and you're like, no, he's some other character. So you're like, oh, I'm not attracted, like, whatever. So I think that's part of it too. You know what I mean? But you couldn't have it be the nice, adorable Mathis, because none of this would make sense then. You know? So, like, what they're doing is interesting. But I think I'm not connecting with it because it's like the whole thing with Mathis is how timid and adorable and awkward he is before you find out he's a homunculus, right? So when you get to this point, if you, I think, did this directly after playing the first game, again, maybe repeating the same stuff would be like, okay. But you'd still have that attachment to the original character, the original version of him. And then these are just different endings. But because it's been so long, you didn't bring me back any of that original character. You know what I mean? You kind of backtracked a little bit to give us a refresher in a way, but not of the original Mathis. He's always been a little bit of a douche here. And he's not really likable. And so I'm here and I'm like, yeah, okay, and I think that's what it is. Even though, like, I know original Mathis was a lot nicer and, like, you could at least be like, yeah, no, he's not for me, but, like, he's a sweet character and at least he's adorable and you feel for him and stuff like that, and, like, the romance builds and you're like, it's still cute, you know? I don't have that to feed off of. So now we're here with a psychopath and like, I didn't like, yeah, well, not here. Like, yeah. So I think that's the disconnect. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. So like, let me know if Mathis was your favorite when you got to this and we're doing this, were you like, no, fuck this, I hate it because it destroyed him for you? If you liked Mathis and like played this directly after the original game, was it a little easier to still identify with the original Mathis? Where like I'm saying like I feel nothing here as we're playing this. I'm like, yeah, we're reading a story and I feel absolutely fucking nothing. And I think that's why I'm completely disconnected from it, because Mathis isn't here. Whereas every other character, if you were playing them, the character's still there. But Mathis is a very special exception. So maybe that's the issue, you know? Is like, I don't have that remembrance of the connection with him, and they didn't really have. And even though they did flashbacks, they really did like a hot second where she's like, oh, I remember writing the story, and like whatever. And it's like, but the real Mathis has never been here, so I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's like if they all of a sudden switch Cyan's personality when you go into his thing, and then he's like, you know, not a selfish bastard. And he's like, you know, whatever. I think it'd be weird. I might actually enjoy that. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking, like, he's going to be, like, you know, wearing a little pink apron and wanting to bake and take care of you. And, like, no, no, no. I'm going to make my own sandwich. Are you crazy? Why would I make you feed me? Oh, my God, no. And is, like, really sweet and adorable, like a fluffy kitten. It would be weird. It'd be kind of interesting to see. I'm not going to lie. But you know what I mean? Like, where the fuck is Cyan and what did you do with him? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I hate to say I'm not having a ton of fun here, but I'm not having a ton of fun here. Which is just weird because at the end of the last part, it was like, okay, no, I don't mind the ending. All right. But then we start this. I'm like, oh, we're still doing okay. I don't know. I'm like, it's ebbing and flowing where like at moments you're like, okay, yeah. And then you're like, are we not done yet? Okay, this is fine. Oh, fuck. Why am I still here? You know what I mean? So I think my overall is flatline. So I can't say we're not having fun here. That's really not true. But I just don't think I'm having as much fun here as I want to be. I think that's what it is. I was expecting like a 7 or an 8, and I'm at like a 5. And it's like, I mean, it's fine overall. But like, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just me. I don't know. Maybe this isn't the right time to play this game. I don't know. I headed toward the slums where most of the prostitutes lived. And to be fair, it's not like other games where we've played them and we're like, this is such a slog and it's so awful. It's not that at all. The writing's really good. The story's good. I'm not connecting with it. So this is like when in 9-Rip in like a couple of weeks when you watch that, like, cause like where I am in that one, me being like, I can't believe people can't connect with this game. This game's fucking amazing. But now I'm feeling that with this. So, okay. It's like there's just something. The writing's good. The story, what they're doing is good. I know these characters, but I'm not connecting with it for some reason. There's a disconnect here, which is just making me feel like I'm just shrugging. Like, I don't know. I don't know. You know? It's not bad. But it's not amazing. It's just, I don't know overall in general. But hopefully when we get to the end, it'll be like, okay. But it's going to keep doing that where then we're going to go and I'm going to be like, oh, we're still here. Shut up, Spacey, and just play so we can get it over with. Anyway, I could hear only the clacking sound of the cane against the ground when the intense scent of iron drifted my way. I mean, to be fair, they shouldn't drag this out much longer because we're about to come up on a murdering somebody. Pushing the cane against the ground, I ran as fast as I could around the corner, although they'll do what they did in the last one, and then they'll just, like, have a 30-minute conversation, and it's like, you're gonna get caught. Wishing it was just my imagination, I arrived to find Lucas stabbing people. No. A massive downpour of blood raining in front of me. God, They're a little too violent. They're a little too graphic with the violence here. Oh, God. The body before me was spewing it out like a fountain. Every single one of these is going to get demonetized like 32 times. The face of its owner possessed an indescribable look of anguish. It all looked exactly the same as the first night I came across the deliverer, which was why I was able to react to the glint of his dagger. I swung wildly in the direction I heard the noise and felt an indescribable numbing sensation run through my arm. I slowly opened my eyes to see a dagger covered in blood. And of course, the one holding it was... I thought it might be you. What are you doing in a place like this? Could it be you came after me? After looking at me, he pulled away the blade that I somehow miraculously stopped. Although, to be fair, Psycho-Mathis is a little bit fun in theory. But it's not original Mathis, so I still have that disconnect. But Psycho-Mathis is different, and I can't begrudge them for, like, going wildly off the rails, you know? Again, it's the ebbing and flowing. Sometimes you're like, you're like, but I don't know. I guess overall, I just really have no idea how I feel here. I still couldn't stop shaking. If I didn't happen to pull out the dagger on reflex, I would definitely have been cut. Well, I mean, you've been cut bazillions of times, so whatevs at this point. However, I somehow managed to swallow the fear in me. Yes, that's right. I don't want you to kill any more people. I came here to stop you by force. After managing to say my piece, Mathis looked at me with what seemed like a serious expression. What will you do if I refuse and run away? Then, I held my dagger to my neck. I'll die on my own. Since you were looking forward to killing me, killing myself would be the most unbearable thing to you, right? I see. Then I guess I'll have to kill you now. My voice shook as I answered, and he nodded with a quiet understanding. It's unfortunate, but I am a bit happy. You understand my bloodthirst and came to stop me, willing to give up everything to do so, right? That's just the purest form of love, don't you think? I mean, like, he's a psychopath, but it's brilliantly done, to be fair. He was right. I was ready for the worst possible outcome. However, the deliverer derived pleasure from killing women. If I were to die here, I was sure he would take new victims in order to fill the endless void inside him. That was why I won't let myself be killed so easily. So I'll stop you, even if it means I have to kill you. Watching me ready the dagger, Mathis licked his lips. Very nice. I wouldn't be satisfied if I were to just kill you so easily. Until both our lives end. Let's love each other as much as we can, Blondie. It's kind of, okay, so I really do appreciate, though, the parallels and, like, I'm gonna love you so hard. And, like, where you're like, you know, they're making it very, like, it's disturbing. But, like, I can appreciate the parallels in, like, how he speaks, that, like, stabbing women is, like, giving them love, and this is how he shows his love, and it's like, it's fucked up. You know, let's love each other all night long, Blondie, and you're like, that's not usually what people mean when they say that. When they say things like that, they mean sex, not stabbing each other to death. But, like, go off, I guess, you know? So, you gotta appreciate, like, how fucked up they went with it, you know? The moment his expression changed to one of bliss, Mathis kicked off of the ground. I wasn't used to wielding a dagger. I was sure he would just dodge if I swung in the same way as before. Smack him with the cane, he ain't expecting that. If so, I knew I could still do something as weak as I was. Gritting my teeth, I mimicked what he did a few days ago. And stabbed myself in the leg, and simply stood as his dagger sank into my shoulder. What? Then, I forced myself to put strength into the spot I was stabbed, fixing it in place so he couldn't pull it out. As my vision flickered in and out from the pain, just before Mathis could pull out a new dagger from his side, I grabbed the back of his cloak and pushed both of us to the ground. Mathis tried to force me off of him, but I won't let go, no matter what. We wrestled with each other, rolling around in the pond of blood. It's not a pool, it's a pond. Oh! Ow! Ugh. Anyone watching the scene would think we were both insane. I mean, to be fair, he 100% is, and you were about 98% are, so. This is amazing. Your beauty wasn't the only remarkable thing about you, I see. It makes it so worth killing you. Mathis was smiling with joy. I feel like this is going to end up similar to the other one where we stab each other. But this is going to be more fighting, and that one was like, real Mathis came back for a hot second. How's that feel? The sensation of your breathing slowly getting weaker. We switched positions, and he was now on top of me, strangling my neck. I can't give up. The thing is like, when you let him stab you, because the thing is, if I swing the dagger, he'll notice, but when you let him stab you and then you pin it, why didn't you stab him at any point in this? You know what I mean? His ultimate goal was to cut apart my body, meaning he wouldn't strangle me to death. I would guess he intended to go a bit easy on me, stopping after I passed out. I needed to take advantage of that. I was here to stop him. Interrupting the deliverer's pursuit of pleasure would make him unhappy. My role as death was to bring misfortune to others, and that was why I was here now. After I was knocked to the ground, my hand grasped the hilt of the dagger. For a moment I relaxed, pretending I had fainted, then thrust as hard as I could against his right thigh. With the opening I made, I attempted to crawl out from under him, but... That hurts. His body started to quiver. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts, but it feels so good. He didn't falter from the pain, and instead put even more of his weight on me. This passion and this pain given to me by the one I love feels so good. I'm sure you'll gladly accept the passion and pain I give you tonight, too, right? Again, this just sounds like you're into some kind of kinky sex, not stabbing each other. I mean, people are into, like, knife play and stuff, but that's not what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It sounds like, we're gonna spank you a little bit, maybe handcuff you. Like, you're into some, like, light kinky kind of shit, and then, like, but he's talking about, like, ripping you to shreds, literally. I mean, like, come on. You gotta appreciate the bit. With the new dagger he pulled out, he pinned my right palm to the ground. He then took out his last dagger and thrust it into my stomach. He continued, one layer after another, slowly peeling away my skin. I'm gonna vomit, guys. Should we put a trigger warning on the first part of this? I feel like you should know this by now. I didn't know. Okay, to be fair, I didn't know it was gonna get this disturbing, but was the first one this disturbing? Maybe it was. I know it was disturbing, but this one's just gone. They got ham in this bit. Jesus. That's right. I could clearly see the future in which I was going to die. The sheer difference in our strength made it clear that any resistance I might put up would be futile. But even so, if I were to let him go now, I'd regret it even after I've died. I grabbed the dagger stuck into me with my left hand and forced my throat to speak before I could scream out in pain. It's true, I will love you. Every version of you. And if, to you, bloodlust is love, I will accept it, here and now. Then. But I'm not just Blondie. That's right. Until you say my name and tell me you love me, I don't want to die. I'd never recognized a love that both of us didn't see. His mouth suddenly opened after hearing what I had to say. But the name Spacey didn't come through his lips, and instead, large drops of tears fell from his eyes. That's right. Why? I love you so much, yet why don't I even know your name? No, that's not it. I know it, but why can't I remember it? His hand that held the knife was still steady, but his voice alone started to grow weaker and weaker. And then... Mathis is beloved. Surely you must be my beloved. I wish to see you. Where are you? I can hear you, but everything is covered in darkness. In dark, hideous emotions. I can't see a thing. What came out of him was a poem by lovers in a faraway country that Mathis Claude had once taught me. The moment I realized what he said, overwhelmed by emotion, I gave him a kiss as he still pushed me against the ground. If you can't remember, then I'll teach you again. So please, call me by my name. I'm the one you allowed to stay by your side, the one you taught such wonderful poems. The name of Death, the most terrifying person in the world. I don't know about that, girl. You're giving yourself too much credit when we got Boro and this motherfucker out running around. Just saying. And the one who loves you most in this world. Spacey. He spoke my name before I could tell him. I thought for a hot second when it got dark, I'm like, oh, we getting our CG? Nope. I looked up at his face and tears fell from him. Oh, I'm not... Oh, God, he's saying my name 500 times. Okay, anyway, he says my name 500 times. Like, our precious beloved. Even now that I remember, I still can't stop. We love you so much. So... we want to kill you. Finally, I felt like I saw the light from his love. Any normal person would see his confession to me as one of madness, and difficult to accept. Well, I mean, yes, but also no, because, like, real Mathis is trying to get out, kind of like he did before, but, like, he's, like, accepting, like, there's multiple psycho people in here, and, like, we love you, and we're gonna kill you, because that's the more dominant personality. So, yeah, it's a little fucked up, but, like, I mean... But now I felt at ease, and also, what else do we expect from this game but a little fuck it up, so... I'm sure I'll be the last woman he kills. It made sense, didn't it? You could only give your love to a single person. So it wasn't out of ego, but out of my right alone to claim his love and bring it to Hades. In that case, it's fine. She's definitely lost her marbles. If this was my last moment with him, yes, I love you too. That twisted love of yours. Give it all to me. I embraced him, accepting his bloodlust as well. Yeah, I mean, nobody, like, she's like, and some people would see this was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's not that they would think it's crazy. It is. Ooh. Along with the splashing tears, his greatest expression of love came down to pierce my stomach. Fun times. I heard an explosion from behind Mathis. And he simply collapsed. Mathis? Massive amounts of blood flowed from his back. I lay there confused, not knowing what had even happened. Nice. I was like, did the core find us? Oh, hell no. On Coffee was like, fuck that shit. I did not come back, travel through time, and fuck up everything for this to happen. You know, you gotta give props to him. Okay, anyway. Spacey, are you all right? Uncle? I didn't expect to see him rushing toward me. I didn't either, but somehow not surprised or disappointed. The Watchman of Death, who commanded me to unravel the secrets of the deaths in Arpachel, had an expression of panic completely different from when I first met him. Do you know what this man has suffered through? I'm sorry I couldn't come sooner to save you. I was held up for a while. I never thought that man would do something as outrageous as creating the Deliverer. Did you know the Deliverer's true identity, Unco? Yes, but I could not tell you because of the restrictions, as you may remember. Forgive me for putting you in such danger. When I met him before, he acted so whimsically, as if he were enjoying the events that occurred at the time. But now, hurrying to me and telling me he would do everything to keep me from being killed, made me feel I could trust him now. Please, don't apologize. I followed your advice and stayed by Mathis's side, which is why I was able to stop him. Although in the end I was saved by you. I see. You've truly become stronger in such a short amount of time. After trying to laugh off the pain I felt, I tore off a part of my clothes and desperately tried to stop the bleeding from Mathis's body. Uncle raised his eyebrows at the sight. Do you mean to save him? Even if it was through a different persona, he still committed heinous crimes. I feel it would help him much more if you allowed him to die now. That may be true, but still, I don't want Mathis to die without knowing anything. I want to face his crimes with him, and if he can't bear them, then I'll die with him. I see. Personally, I wish to cast judgment upon the murderer who hurt you. But I will respect your wishes and reserve judgment until he is sent to Hades. Thank you. You've done so much for me, Anko. No, it is I who should be thanking you. You helped to uncover one of the dark secrets plaguing this land. Once all this is over, go on and live your life with Mathis Claude as you please. I don't think that's gonna happen, sweetie. Though I am uncertain what punishment awaits him in this mortal world. Thank you. She's like, yay! He's gonna end up, like, stoned or, like, guillotine or whatever. Like, he's on death row, motherfucker. They're not gonna... He's like, Okay. With Unco's help, I struggled to finally cover the hole in Mathis's back. The wound itself was small compared to the amount of blood. Above all, he was still breathing, although, I mean, to be fair, then you're, like, now dragging out this ending. With proper treatment, I was sure he would be saved. Hang in there, Mathis. I'm sure when you wake up next, you'll be able to see me clearly, just as I am. The moment I whispered my words of encouragement... Mathis turned his body slightly. Oh, good. I'm sure he'll be all... My thought was cut off by what happened next. Spacey, get back! Huh? And with the swinging of the knife that rushed toward me, I never finished that thought. Okay, that was a way to end it. Just ching, dead. Okay. A month later. Alright, okay. Ow. Mathis's face smashed against the bars in front of him. Mathis, why am I here? I stopped peeling the fruits I had brought as a gift and ran toward him as he curled into a ball from the pain. Are you all right? Are you hurt? I thought we were dead. I'm okay. I just hit myself is all. I'm sorry to trouble you and make you worry over every little thing that happens to me. It's no trouble at all. I've never thought such a thing. And it's only been a month since you've been in this condition. I think it's only natural to be a bit shaky with your environment. I suppose. Mathis lifted his face. Oh, here was our CG. Okay. Oh, is he blind? Oh. That's kind of fucked up. Still, this is a punishment that was given to me. The punishment was to carve out his eyes? Okay, I mean... okay. I have to accept it. And over it were heavy bandages dressing deep wounds. Yeah, okay, I read that weird. It wasn't a temporary condition. Even without those bandages, Mathis's eyes would never see light or be able to read words again. About a month ago, the deliverer's last victim was himself. Oh. Spacey, get back! Huh? In that moment, it wasn't me. Oh, okay. But his own eyes that he dragged the blade across. Anko's like, the fuck? Mathis? Good. Now, I can't kill anyone as the deliverer anymore. He put an end to the imaginary figure of the deliverer himself. He murmured, almost relieved, as bloody tears ran down his face. No, but then you'll never be able to read the stories you've loved so much. It's fine, no matter what price I pay. I want to be sure I couldn't kill you. I wanted to tell you, not through my bloodlust, but through my words, that I love you. I quietly held Mathis, who was now blind. It feels strange. Everything's black and I can't see a thing. Yet I know it's you who's holding me right now. I feel the same warmth I felt when we made our promise to each other. Yes, I'm right here. Even if you can see nothing in your world anymore, I'll hold you as many times as I need to prove that I'm right here beside you. So please, stay alive with me. Thank you. I have no right to be offered something like that now. But even in this dark world, I'm not afraid of anything if you're by my side, Spacey. For as long as time allows, please let me stay by your side. For like an hour a day. My dear, my beloved Death. That was the last thing Mathis said before he passed out and was taken to the hospital. I went with Unco back to the basement of the Claude mansion. But there, neither Camille nor Rosalie could be found. I was going to say that even the tube's empty. In their place was downloadable data of Mathis's personality and a note with instructions on how to perform the procedure. He accomplished what he wanted. I was sure he meant to give us a means to keep Mathis alive if we wanted. After following the instructions and downloading Mathis's original personality back into him, he woke up and went to face questioning by the Corps under his own will. I went with him, watching even the moment he surrendered himself. What you should have done is show the basement and been like, yes, he still killed those people, so like... Oh, okay, because I was like, you should point out, like, he was basically, like, conditioned into this. He still has to pay for his crimes, but, like, maybe not as severely, but okay. Cyan immediately put out wanted posters for Camille and began an investigation into who his supporters might be. However, I was sure he was able to get away without a trace. I hadn't seen him at all since then. Whether or not Rosalie was truly brought back to life was something only God would know. Mathis, who was now apprehended, was spared the death penalty because of his duty in translating foreign works. It was decided that he would live in this cell until his death, but he can't translate foreign works if he can't see them anymore. The Institute conducted downloads of his memory every night, as he was a living witness of Camille's crimes. He's provided safety only after being imprisoned. How ironic. I was saddened that his sight and his freedom were gone now, but I was plenty happy that I could still visit him. Well, let's go to work before visiting hours are over. Yeah, you're right. I laid out a piece of paper in front of me and picked up a pen. What was written on the paper was the new manuscript we had begun. A completely unique piece in the entire world, not an imitation of anything else. Let's see. The other day, we wrote about how the girl known as Death gathered her courage and came to the world above ground, right? Right. What do you want to do next? I thought about it already. The first human she makes friends with is a boy who likes writing stories and is a bit of a coward. Neither of them knew much of the world and both became friends right away. After that, they hold hands and promise each other they'll be together no matter what happens. I wrote down onto the paper the story that Mathis told. This was my new reason for living. Just because he couldn't see didn't mean he could no longer tell stories. I became his pen, and Mathis Claude's stories would spread across the world. They're starting to seem more and more like us. Starting to? Well, the model for the girl is none other than you. I'll work hard so she can capture how adorable and strong you are. I'm happy to hear that, but I'm not strong at all. That's not true. You never gave up in trying to convey your feelings to me when I was a crazed murderer. I was saved by your strength. I'm alive because all of you worked so hard to give me love. Without that, I would have just cried like I did in the past and accepted my death. You see, well, I guess that goes for the both of us. But as things were now, no one would bless our love for each other. Well, I mean, even so, I know I can't tell you that I'll make you happy. But for long as I live. Okay, guys, come on. Tim, Ronald, what the shit? Stop trying to pull me out when we're like, okay, we're having a moment here. But for as long as I live, through my words, I'll prove my love to you. Even if we're apart, I'll give you such beautiful words that will prove we're there for each other. And I'll return the love you give to all of us. We continued to share with each other words of love that would last us to our graves. Until the rampant deaths in this country invited us to Hades. I'm not going to lie, that was a really great way to end it, because she said, like, we'll share words of love until we get to our graves, and I'm thinking literally to myself, if they keep going on with this, it's going to take us to our graves. I can't see anything with these eyes now, but the memory of your smile is etched into my heart, so I'm not scared anymore. I can't say with confidence that I can make you happy, but I can promise that I'll love you until the very end. That's interesting. Did they do that with the last one? With the first ending we got? Where they then do this? Because I don't remember them doing this. Because, like, Nine Rip does that after you get an ending. It gives you, like, a little, like, spoken line like that. I don't remember them doing that in the last one. Was I not paying attention and did we miss it? Whatever. Whatever. Listen, guys, whatever. Okay, so now we're gonna get our bad ends. I mean, I will say, even though I know that I'm having moments where I'm, like, not feeling it, and then I'm like, no, okay, we're doing better, and then it's like, okay, we're still here. You know, like I said, I'm just kind of about it right now. There are really good things about it. Like, they've put the effort in, and putting it in, like, okay, that's a separate ending, but it takes, like, 45 fucking minutes to get through? You know what I mean? Or, like, if you're speed reading or whatever, it might only take you 30. But it's not like it was a 2-minute ending. Like, they put a lot of effort into both of the main kind of ending, you know? So, like, I can't begrudge them that. But again, at the same time, what I will begrudge is, like, but since you're, like, I don't know. I can't really say it's like they're recycling endings from the main game, because they're taking a point from the main game and then kind of veering off differently. So at first I was very concerned. They veered off definitely differently enough. And I, again, can't be really mad about as much of the repeated stuff as we had, because I'm getting a little bit of deja vu. I feel like we've read this. Did we do this scene before? But because I don't remember, it's not as annoying for me. But, you know, and I really do feel like doing this was a way to, like, pad out the runtime of the game. But to be fair, again, they didn't have to do this. And maybe it doesn't seem necessary. I'll have to get a better judgment once we've gone through some of the other characters. You know what I mean? Because it does seem like it's pretty lengthy. It's like 6 hours for us. You know, most people probably take about maybe 4 going through all the endings for this. For all the characters on stuff that you've sort of done, but not really. I don't know. Anyway, bad end 1. Oh, that last ending was The World They Built. This one is titled Love Burns, Ending a Life. Do we go in? We're going to die. Go in. Yeah, see, that it was like, fuck that, bad choice. This area was far away from where the deliverer was active. On top of that, Millet, or was a boy, there was little low chance he would be targeted. Millet? Or Millie? I think it's probably Millet. Mile? Mile? Maybe it's Mile? Someone will tell me. One of you guys is going to tell me, but by the time you see this, it'll have been like, oh, it might be on Lucas's shit. Whoever we do next. You know what I mean? I don't know. I called out, but there was no reply, and then it won't matter anymore because we already forgot that kid existed. You might not have, but I did. I looked around, but didn't find the figure I was searching for. He must be further in. Huh? A searing heat spread across my spine. I couldn't stand. My vision started to blur in an instant. I helplessly fell to the dirty ground. With a groan, blood spilled from my mouth. And there I finally understood that I had been stabbed in the back. Accompanied by footsteps, a pair of black shoes came into view. I struggled to look up and saw... Found you. Mathis? The precious person I had wanted to see. After kneeling down, he grabbed my hair and forcefully pulled it to bring my head up. I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since that moment. You're so strange to me, more interesting than any of the prostitutes. I wonder how great it would feel if I killed you. I hope you just do and don't drag this out. It's supposed to be a bad ending. It should be quick. No. Stop. But instead of those pleas, what came out of my mouth was even more blood. All right, then. There's no one around to bother us. Now to indulge in the sensations of killing you. In an expression of ecstasy, he raised his dagger high into the air and, without any hesitation, cut open my stomach. Jeez. Every last organ was taken out of me. I'm gonna vomit. I can never get tired of how pretty these are. Ew! I'm sure your blood and flesh are things I burn with love for. And with those last words from him, I lost consciousness. Oh my God. How do these poor voice actors, how did they read this? And they were like, oh, like, what am I doing here? These are so pretty. Am I giving her jewelry? No, you're playing with her organs. Like, what the fuck? Jesus. I swear to God. That is so fucking messed up. All right, now we're having fun again because that's disturbing as shit. Stop it. We're not really. I'm going to go vomit later. Okay, 3. And then this is a story of love for you. And then we say that's not true. Okay, so is Camille going to kill us? It's not right for you to say as the cause of all this. If you were in my place, could you just dismiss Rosalie if she went mad? I hated Camille so much that I couldn't stand it. But I had to accept Cray's love for the love that it was. I can no longer deny it. Yeah, of course I would. I'd love Rosalie no matter who she becomes, and I've promised to marry her. Okay, this is all the same. Okay. All right, so then... All right. All right, okay, this is where he's taking the photos of us. A story of love for you. But yet, it didn't end, like, right there. Interesting. And we should... Okay. I struggled, pushing myself off the floor, and put my bloody lips against Mathis's. Species. It's okay. Even after I die, you won't be alone. There's no changing that death awaits you in the near future. But I'll allow you to leave a memento to Mathis after you die. A photograph that preserves a remnant of his memories with you. I will remain in this world, by your side. What do you mean? It took everything I had to say it, and I no longer had the strength to explain further. With a final kiss, I collapsed right where I was. Spacey! I could hardly even hear Mathis call out to me. There were so many more things I wanted to tell him. Well, this one's even more tragic because, like, now he's kind of Mathis back in his brain, and, like, now we did. But all that left my mouth was blood. I wondered what Mathis was thinking now that I was essentially a corpse. He bit his lip so strongly blood came out of it. After wiping his tears, he readied his knife. I'm sorry for making you suffer so much. If you can't be saved, then I will end your suffering. At the edge of my sight, I could see the gleam of the knife he raised up high. Don't forget, the one who killed you isn't the deliverer. He was a foolish, cowardly man who also loved you. The homunculus Mathis Claude. Yeah, I won't forget. I'll take all our memories and bring them to Hades with me. His eyes, the last thing I saw. were so captivatingly beautiful. Seriously? I was like, okay, that's the end. Nope, now we have Mathis's perspective. Okay. Oh, Shonizen. Okay. The deliverer, the murderer who targeted only women, was captured. I had forgotten how much time had passed since he was given the death penalty. The air was damp in the cell. And there I gazed at the photograph I brought in with me. It was in the surprised yet adorable. In it was the surprised yet adorable face of a girl with pretty blonde hair. Spacey, the lover I killed. I still couldn't forget the sensation of cutting into her stomach. For better or worse, who am I right now? My personalities had been so unstable after killing her. I felt like I might be Mathis Claude, but also the deliverer. Even now, both the despair and joy of killing her was mixed within me. Okay, this is an interesting way to end it, though, getting his perspective of being, like, so fucked up from all the personalities dumped into him, he can't even figure out who he is. All of Camille Claude's sins had been erased by the royal family. The only thing left for me was my execution. But I won't fall into despair. If I die, I'll be able to see her in Hades. No matter who I am, I'm sure she'll love me. Until then, I needed to stay by her side with this picture. Wait for me, Spacey, until I come to you. I'll think of the next parts to that story. I would keep writing this unique love story until my judgment was delivered. I was sure she'd hear that story. That's why it's a story of love for you. And like, go figure! Royal family erasing all of his crimes. All right, and this is the fourth one. So this is the one that we just did. So we turn right, and then the bad end for this one is titled The End. It's just the end! Fuck you! Fuck you, game writers, which is like, this one's just called The End. It's actually funny. I followed the path to Cheetahs, where the prostitutes tended to gather. But no matter how hard I listened, I couldn't hear anything other than my own footsteps. Maybe I should try going back and head toward the slums. I turned back and headed along the path to the slums. On the way, the intense scent of iron drifted my way. Okay. So then we go back, and then now we're doing the same thing. So we're gonna have a fight with him. Okay. Interesting that it brings it full back around, which is like it's a couple of extra lines. So, like, what are they really doing differently? Okay. Ew. The sound effects. Oh, now we're back to being Mathis. Okay. Anko never showed up here. Oh. Okay, so wait a minute. Where did that kind of... Along with Splat of Tears, his greatest expression on the... Isn't that, I think, the point where Anko popped in? And the other... I literally forgot. Like, Covered in black and red just earlier, my consciousness and vision were now clear. But what I saw didn't change much. I was sitting on the floor of a mad laboratory created to revive a single woman. Huh? I... 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 I'm Mathis Claude. I'm a homunculus created as an experiment to resurrect the dead. In the person Spacey said she would stay beside until the very end. Having returned to my senses, I immediately looked around the room. Why was I, the deliverer, now back to being Mathis? And... Spacey! Where was the girl I dragged into this mess? What are you babbling about? I looked behind me to see Camille leaning against the wall with an annoyed look on his face. He's just been standing there waiting for Mathis to wake up. Camille, where's Spacey? If I'm back to my normal self, then she must be here too, right? If anything happened to her, I would never forgive him. In response to my plea, full of conviction. What are you talking about? She's right there in front of you. With a look of disgust, Camille gave an unexpectedly anticlimactic reply. Huh? Right in front of me? What was in front of me was guts. Just a sea of blood. Ew. What was in my hand was a single chunk of warm flesh. Guys! Don't eat before you watch these parts. Warning is a little bit late now, but notes for going forward. Come to think of it, what was I doing while my mind was blank? Oh, don't tell me. You were still obsessed with cutting her open while I was downloading your original personality into you. That sickens even me. Yet he says it with such a beautiful bitch look on his face. The reality thrust onto me was the last thing I heard. Before my sanity completely and utterly broke. Hi, what you doing? You want patties? He's like, you need to pet the bird. It's like, you need bird moral support. I do need it, thank you. Holding what used to be her, I cried and screamed like a madman. Jesus. And that, you put all that effort into the trauma of that one and just called it the end. That is so fucking rude. Jesus. Ugh. I mean, again, overall, it's not bad what they're doing. But I think it's just, again, I think the disconnect is like, you get little bits and pieces of Mathis, but not really a lot. You know what I mean? So this is our only CG, but we can't end on this one. It's tragic. At least the other one we're stabbing each other, we're kissing or something. And this one he's all blind and it's horrifying. And to be fair, the CGs in this game so far are awful. And I don't mean that in it God, they look terrible. No, they look beautiful. The art's done really well, but it's this is tragic. And this is tragic. And this is the only one that's really cute. And so I don't hate what they're doing. I'm not gonna, I don't, but I just think, my problem really is that you get when we get little pieces of Mathis coming through, but I think for the most part of this, he wasn't really Mathis. It kind of comes through in the end and stuff. And then they definitely have the habit of dragging it out when we're saying our piece and this is the last thing we'll ever say to each other. 2 hours later, and then we're doing that. And it's the fuck, people. Seriously. Be a little more concise with it, you know? But overall, I don't know how I feel about them. Theoretically, yeah, you're kind of just rehashing some stuff. You're taking it from the original game and just giving us new endings that are traumatic. But at the same time, what do we really expect? Because Virche is not going to be fucking happy. And just having cute little side stories or maybe additional things. Because I think the emotion ones, let me go back. The emotion ones, let me see. You're tickling me by, So, after stories for the main love interests, continuing from each main character's salvation end in the first game. So they're additional after stories. I don't know how that's going to work with Lucas because he was pretty much he got the short end of the stick in one of them. I don't remember which ending it was, and I don't remember the other one. But one of them, we were dead, and he was just biding out his time until he dropped dead with our skeleton. So, I'm just saying, how are we going from that? And I don't remember which ending that was. But I'm just saying, I do hope they give you a little flashback on that. Because, again, I don't remember. So, I can't begrudge them, spending some time rehashing scenes or whatever. I do think they put almost maybe a little bit too much into these. I would rather see more in the after stories kind of stuff. And like, or maybe a little bit more in the sort of interludes where they're a collection of events from the main story, what if scenarios, love interest path, maybe little things where like maybe you have some slightly happier scenarios and like whatever. Just like, you know, a collection of short stories, if you will, where they put a lot into this and it's like, I think it might have been a little too much. Like dial it back a little, you know. But again, I don't know if my impression of it is just because starting with Mathis might not have been the best. Because you're starting out with Mathis as not Mathis, and it's kind of like I feel disconnected. Like, and toward the end, then when he's suffering and he's being Mathis after doing all the things, and he's gotten kind of his other personality back, you're like, okay. Well, shit, now this is getting tragic and sad, and you're like, but the rest of the time, you're like, he's not really Mathis at this point. I mean, like, sure, you're supposed to love him as any version, but like, I don't have that connection because if they had done this in the original game, it might have been different. But it's like a little too late now to do this kind of backtracking. You know what I mean? And like do that, like, because at least in the other one, like, yes, he had a different personality, but he always popped out and he was always Mathis at the end and like what, you know what I mean? So like that, and I don't feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm trying to think back. I'm like, I don't feel like that kind of ending where that happened. One of them, he did kill us. I think that might have been a bad version of the ending. But, like, I don't remember him, like, I don't remember it taking, like, hours to do. You know what I mean? So, like, so I kind of appreciate, you know, that they're putting something instead of like, oh, hey, by the way, Matt, here's some backstory, like, where you're redoing an hour or so of what you played in the last game, and they're just re-putting those scenes in, and then they give you a 5-minute ending, because then you're like, what the fuck? But I think it might have been a little, you put a little bit too much effort into this, and I think it really, I guess, just depends on, like, the emotion ones, like, because there's despair and salute, you know what I mean? And like, so you put two different ones in, and then endings in that, and it's like, well, let's just see how much effort you put into those, because I would hope they're at least a few hours. Not like, oh, that's only 30 minutes. And it's like, so you put all the effort into, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's just me being slightly disconnected from the Mathis that existed in this. You know what I mean? Where if this kind of happened in the original game, it would have been like, you know, here's our little kiss. It's a messy, bloody kiss, but we can pretend it's not as tragic as it is, that we're dying right now. If it had been in the original game, you would have had plenty of time with original Mathis. So when you got here, you would have still had that connection with him. And I think that's my problem. And it could just be a personal problem. Let me know what you thought when you played it. If, like I said, if you're only watching it now and you watched the original and then you're like, yeah, it feels disjointed and weird, like you're not vibing. Or if you're like, no, Mathis was my favorite, so I'm totally here for it. Or you thought he got at the short end of the stick because you love original Mathis and this is what they did to him. You know, they're all going to get the short end of the stick, to be fair, like tragic endings. But like, Mathis wasn't here half the time. This is Mathis's evil twin. You know what I mean? So like, but I don't fully, it's not like I hate it. I don't know how I feel. We have moments where they're good and moments where I'm just like, eh. So overall, I'm still questioning it, you know? So, and it could have just been a choice to starting with these was not the best idea. Maybe we should have done the emotion stuff and then done these, but I actually think it's kind of right to get these out of the way. You know what I mean? To enjoy the new stuff. So that's what we will be doing in the next part. We're going to start Mathis's emotion section. So that will be the continuation, the after stories from the Salvation ending. And I don't remember what his fucking Salvation ending is. So I hope they give me some backstory like this one did, at least. Anyway, so I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.